Kamusta yo fam? I'm Yowawerts, and for today, I will be making a new Omnitrix from the Ben 10 Fan Fiction Wiki. But first, let's call Azimuth for help. Azimuth, I'm making another Omnitrix. I need your help. Got it. Now that we know the secret, let's go make an Omnitrix. Click the link below and print the template. You guys won't be needing this page, but I hope you'll still read it. Anyways, I cut out the major pieces of the template first. We'll get into the remaining pieces later. After I cut out these pieces, I took a 5mm thick EVA foam for these two. I then traced the outlines of these pieces. After that, I cut these out from the EVA foam. By the way, if you like Ben 10 creations, I have more DIY Omnitrix using cardboard and other homemade materials in this channel. So, after watching this tutorial, you might want to check out my other videos. I used a much thinner EVA foam for this remaining piece. Once I finished cutting, I then took this piece, which will be the base of this watch. I marked this line, which is where I will put the Velcro later on. I then taped the ends of this piece. This foam will be glued on top of the previous one, so to make them easier to stick together later, I decided to use heat gun to maintain their current form. After that, I painted both pieces with the color gray. This piece, on the other hand, is painted with a darker color. While waiting for the paint to dry, I took out the remaining page from earlier and cut them out. Now for the alien interface and pattern, I used photo paper to make them look glossy. As you can see, this page looks much better and more vibrant. Using a piece of thin cardboard, I then glued on the following pieces. While the glue dries, I made 4 tubes for the Omnitrix using white EVA foam. After that, I continued on making the alien interface. Once I was done cutting out the pieces, I then glued the following pieces together. This will be the watch frame of my Omnitrix. This piece, on the other hand, will be used for the Omnitrix button. After gluing the ends, I then painted these pieces. To add more details, I glued these pieces onto the alien interface. I then cut out a thin strip of foam and glued it onto the sides of this piece. After that, I glued these pieces together. And to cover this little mess, I cut out this piece and glued it onto this part. Now to make the tiny buttons for the Omnitrix, I used hot glue. After these dried, I then colored them with bright green. I then surrounded each button with another thin strip of foam. Adding these details make the buttons look even better. The paint on these pieces finally dried, so I'll be working on the base of the Omnitrix. First, I attach Velcro onto these areas. Then, I glued on the following pieces accordingly. Now to make the pattern piece of this Omnitrix, I glued its ends like so. I then made this ring piece which fits perfectly into the pattern piece. This is glued into the back of the Omnitrix dial. The alien interface of this Omnitrix is detachable. You can either show the Omnitrix pattern or simply put the Omnitrix at rest. Finally, I glued the 4 tubes onto the Omnitrix and as well as the button. But before I reveal my finished work, shout out to these awesome YoFam for sharing with us their creative DIYs. Well done you guys, and hey, if you also want your crafts to be featured in this video, go ahead and send me a photo on my Instagram account. Alright, enjoy the reveal of my EXOS Omnitrix. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week, so stay safe everyone.